Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Connect Africa. I am Mahlet Ayele, your host here at Connect Africa. Now, why I am here or why at this hour of the night, it's 10 o'clock my time, 10 p.m. Or 20, almost half past 10 actually. Well, there seems to be an organized attack against Mali, which is a media attack. If you read it or if you read the room, it seems that there is something coming to attack Bamako, the government of Bamako. Because why do I say that? First of all, I have come across this article from Al Jazeera. Now, there is a certain type, like there is a pattern by the mainstream media when they are about to lead you to be a failed state. We have seen it in Somalia. We have seen it in we have seen it in Sudan. We have seen it also to some extent in Ethiopia. We have seen it in Libya. There is always one good thing about the West is that the pattern remains the same. The method to attack countries, it remains the same because all of them well synchronized, like the media, their security, national security or intelligence, or also their academicians or the intelligentsia. It's everybody or all institutes work together. So now this article on Al Jazeera says, look, it reads, is Mali about to fall an Al-Qaeda affiliated armed group? The armed group piles pressure on the landlocked Sahel country and its military government. Fighters affiliated with Al-Qaeda have blocked fuel deliveries to Mali's capital for 2 months, bringing the city of Bamako to a standstill. They have sealed off the highways that tankers use to transport fuel from neighboring Senegal and the Ivory Coast. This has put pressure on the landlocked Sahel country and its military government. So, because of this, of course, Mali has said this fuel crisis is due to it's a terrorist linked, and this terrorism or these terrorist groups have sponsors. The foreign minister have tried to tell the world on different world stages, but of course it has fallen to deaf ear, and nobody's listening to Mali. And the Sahel states, every time, as much as they try to be independent economically, but also the problem with the terrorism in these countries is taking so much of their budget. So they need help. For now, I think Russia is present in all the 3 countries, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, assisting them militarily. And Mali previously also have come up with an evidence how the Ukraine military is involved. Ukraine mercenaries are involved in this with the terrorist groups, and also how the French government is sponsoring and training the terrorist groups in the neighboring countries in the Sahel region. But of course, nobody is doing nothing. Now, it's not only Al Jazeera. Let me show you how all of them, the mainstream media, how they work together, and they are attacking, demonizing Mali, and to say that it's a failed state. But of course, before that, they are going to come and they're going to do something like what they did in Libya. If, of course, if the terrorist group is unable to throw the current government, what they are going to do is they themselves will come in the name of defending their citizens there. Now, if I show you this, look, Al Jazeera with the headline, "Is Mali about to fall to Al-Qaeda affiliate GNIM?" That is the acronym for the terrorist group. Again, Al Jazeera, "Is Mali," the other one was 5 days ago. And then today, like 24 hours ago, "Is Mali about to fall to an Al-Qaeda affiliated armed group?" And then they made also video news about it. Akhled, "Is Mali about to fall to Al-Qaeda affiliate armed group in Mali, causing population palpable fear?" Apple Podcast, "Is Mali about to fall to an Al-Qaeda affiliated armed group?" I mean, there are also others. I mean, it just continues. A lot of them are reporting violent extremism in the Sahel. The Global Conflict Tracker, this is the Council on Foreign Relations. Well, if if you have followed to some extent before countries like Libya, Somalia in the 90s, and others before they are labeled as a failed state, there's a certain pattern what the mainstream media or the Western government does. What they do is, first of all, they try to divide to create division between the government and the people, meaning by demonizing the government, saying it's denying this and that to the people. Now, when they see that the people are not giving their back to their government, then they change their tactic, and they will of course use guerrillas or terrorist groups, whoever it is. If not, they will train and send one. So they will try to change the government from within by sending these terrorist groups, which are trained and sponsored and well equipped by them. And what they do is they continue to sponsor these groups until this government that is not obedient to the Western world is thrown away. So this is what they're doing. And then if also that fails, then they will continue with the mainstream media demonizing the government and trying to create an image of a failed state of Mali or others. And then also they tell you on their media that they urge their citizens to leave that country. For example, France is the latest country that told its citizens to leave Mali. There are about 5,000 French citizens living with their family, meaning all of them counted around 5,000. They are told by their government to leave Mali. But it's not only France. The United States also has called its citizens to leave as soon as possible Mali, Canada, UK, Germany. And it's funny because all these countries have soldiers, or at least used to have soldiers in the Sahel states. Now, something of them is taken away, so they are trying to create this chaos. So if we cannot reap, if we cannot loot, then let's make it a failed state, let's make it a lawless land, so that we can come and do whatever we want. That's of course how they do things. So they will try, first of all, the first step, they try to create a division between the government and the people. But if the people continue to support regardless their government, then they also train terrorists, guerrillas to fight the government. That's number two. Number three, if that doesn't work, also they will attack, they will campaign through the mainstream media to trying to create this image of Mali as a failed state, or any other country for that matter, that they want to take down. And also they call for their citizens to leave the country. For example, in Ethiopia, in 2020, there was this war in the northern part of the country from 2020 till 2022. And what they did is, because they cannot separate, because the people were showing a support to Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, to the government, they were sponsoring the TPLF group in the northern part. And at last, what they did is they told their citizens to leave the country, all of them. And most of their citizens, they know what their government doing, so they just took a vacation and went to the neighboring country, to Nairobi, to Kenya. And then they know after some few days they have to, that they will come back, because really there is no threat, there is no danger. Okay, and now this is what they are doing. They are, because they cannot separate the people of Mali and the government, because the people are supporting this revolutionary leader, and then they are creating an image. They are, of course, sponsoring the terrorist groups, which the Mali's government is still fighting back. And then they are now demonizing Mali itself as a whole, not only the government, but also the country as a whole. So they are telling their citizens to leave. Now, if this also doesn't work, and if somehow Mali managed to get back on its 2 feet, then what will happen is they're going to drag Mali to the United Nations Security Council. And then they will also establish a committee from the internet. This I'm telling you, it's not because I know, it's because I know from experience. Okay, this is what is going to happen in Mali. And economically, they are trying to cripple the country, because they for example, there was this exporter and importer company from France, and they have closed their business there, and they were taking much of the import and export was done by them. So now this will really affect, and things prices will be skyrocketed. So, and making really forcing and pushing the people to the edge, for the people to come and protest against the government. So these are all same tactics. If this does work, they will also establish of a committee under the United Nations Human Rights Commission, and then for them to come and investigate. They will just waste your time, your energy. This trick, we know it. We know this is what you have been doing all along of those failed states. There are some who survived it, like Ethiopia, because really the people were with the government. Now, I want you to listen this, because also today I've come across of this news from the African Union. African Union calls for urgent action in insurgency hit Mali. Now, Bamako, the African Union has called for an urgent international response, including intelligence sharing, to address worsening security conditions in Mali, where insurgents are imposing a fuel blockade and kidnapping foreigners. An Al-Qaeda linked militant group active in West Africa's Sahel region has blocked fuel imports since September, attacking convoys of tankers and creating a shortage that forced schools and businesses to shut. The latest show of force by the group, Jamaat Nusrat al-Islam wal Muslimin, has raised concern that it might eventually try to impose its rule over the landlocked country. Western countries, including the US, France, Britain, and Italy, are urging their citizens to leave. In a statement on Sunday, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, expressed, quote, deep concern over the rapidly deteriorating security situation in Mali, where terrorist groups have imposed blockades, disrupted access to essential supplies, and severely worsened humanitarian conditions for civilian populations. It's really a pity how the African Union is once again showing us they are acting selectively. Where were they, when when the people wanted their support. The chairperson said, quote, enhanced cooperation, intelligence sharing, and sustained support for countries in the Sahel affected by violent extremism. He also called for the immediate release of three Egyptian nationals he said were recently kidnapped. JNIM has targeted foreign nationals for kidnapping to finance its operations in West Africa. The Reuters reported in October that a deal was reached to free two citizens of the United Arab Emirates in exchange for a ransom payment, roughly $50 million. Wow. Schools reopened in the capital Bamako on Monday, a Reuters witness said, after being suspended for 2 weeks because of fuel shortage. They're really leading it very in a chaotic way. It's very sad. Let me just share this video with you. It might be useful. I just come across of this video like less than a minute before I came to live here. Like the operation says, this DESI YouTube channel really extensively report.
This is primarily a precautionary measure because the situation in Mali remains volatile and extremely tense, with jihadist groups linked to al-Qaeda having organized a siege
Where is this sound? What happened?
around the capital Bamako to prevent the city from being supplied with fuel, in particular. And these jihadist groups are sometimes launching attacks very close to Bamako, less than 40 kilometers away.
I don't understand.
This recommendation from the Coup d'Orsat concerns approximately 5,000 the Gulf of Guinea.
Yeah, the sound, I don't know, the sound is not working. Warum?
Bamako. Follows an upsurge in violence in the country. For example, yesterday we learned of the kidnapping of several Indian citizens by these jihadist groups. Whoever you are, wherever you are in the world, it is important for you to know that Africans know that the terrorist organizations that attack the Sahel, the Gulf of Guinea, the Democratic Republic of Congo or Mozambique are not religious organizations, they are mercenary groups and members of the Western political and military oligarchy. That is the basic fact. As long as this fact has not been integrated into the mind of a human being, it is not worthy of discussing African geopolitics.
Particularly with regard to the current security situation that concerns everyone. Before going any further, I would like to first recognize and salute the bravery of the Malian Defense and Security Forces. And in this particular security context, Mali has chosen to continue working to pool our defense efforts, particularly within the framework of the unified force of the Confederation of Sahel States, where significant efforts are being made to reverse the trend while keeping the door open for collaboration with neighboring countries that wish to do so that we can work together on defense and security. Strategy.
I invite you to listen to these analyses by Dr. Frank Linamsey. The attacks on Mali's fuel convoys were in reality only part of a vast plan whose aim was to take the capital of Mali, Bamako, in order to proclaim a new political regime. This new political regime that the mercenary terrorists of Western imperialism wanted to proclaim would have benefited, if it had been well established, from the participation of several Malian opponents hiding in Côte d'Ivoire and France. This is the second fact mentioned in the video. You may still ask yourself the following question. What proves that this is true? Let's watch the video. What proves that this is true? Indeed, it is true. That from Ivory Coast and France, many Malian political figures are working to destabilize Mali. As proof, from Ivory Coast, a certain Mr. Ibrahim Kamara proclaimed himself President of the Republic of Mali with the approval and blessing of the Ivorian authorities. Proof 1. Proof number 2, I am talking about Ivory Coast. A commando of 49 mercenaries disguised as hairdressers, cooks, and tailors had been introduced to set up shop at the President Modibo Keïta Bamisseno International Airport with the aim of assassinating the leaders of the Malian Revolution. Is the famous plot of the 49 water thugs as we called it, and which earned his followers more than 6 months of imprisonment before President Assimi Goïta, out of magnanimity and compassion, sent them back to their country, not without having been subjected to an exemplary sentence by the Malian courts. Proof. Third proof is obvious that from Paris, one only has to look at the Facebook pages of Etienne Vakaba Sissé Sissoko or Malik Konate, who are agents of communication for the destabilization of Mali from Paris. One only has to look at the content of their pages to know that there are tiny groups of Malians. One only has to listen to the interviews of this Bray and this nobody, Dumar Mariko, to understand that Paris is a rear base for the destabilization of Mali and assumes it as such. So I didn't need this video to know that the Ivory Coast of Ouattara, Drammen and the current France of Macron are rear bases for the destabilization of Mali by Malians. I mean Malians. We're not even talking about the Ivorians or the French involved in the affair. So here's the second fact that is established by means other than the video, because there are people who go around and say that the video doesn't prove anything. No, the video summarizes everything. It's not there to prove it, it summarizes what we know. And all those who listen to your servants' conferences have learned nothing from this video. They haven't learned anything. On the contrary, they have done a general review of the facts.
What if shopping in the real world was like it is on
They have, in reality, a general vision of the facts that we are alleging. Okay, very well, now I'll continue. The third point is a third point that we hear in the video and that deserves to be thought about. This is the list of countries that explicitly participated in this operation. Operation Attack Bamako. Take Bamako to impose a new government that will be an alliance between terrorists and former civilian political opponents. Al-Qaeda terrorists from the Islamic State, Florida terrorists will supposedly liberate the Zawad, and MNLA terrorists. In short, this entire conglomerate of criminals was going to join forces with the renegade, those who had renounced their homeland to hand it over to the rascal. They were going to organize, he believed, to govern Mali from Bamako. So which countries are mentioned? And here again, the video tells us nothing. It is a summary video. It is a summary of what we know. Algeria, is it the video that tells us that Algeria is a rear base for the destabilization of Mali? This has been a known fact for a very long time. Diplomatic relations between Mali and Algeria deteriorated after Algeria expressly participated in an open terrorist attack against Mali by destroying a Malian military drone on Malian territory. This was on the night of March 31, 2025 to April 1, 2025. Yes or no? Mali even initiated legal action at that time, and subsequently before the International Court of Justice. Algeria has fuel. So we don't need this video to know that Algeria is a rear base for destabilizing Mali. And we know why the Algerians are doing it. It's because they want to have the same stake in the enormous oil and gas wealth of northern Mali through the secessionists, rebels, and terrorists.
Sorry, so that footage was from Desi TV channel, YouTube channel. It's a report extensively on the Sahel state. So the man who was interviewed was saying that, of course, this operation attack Bamako is underway, and he is demonstrating by showing examples. For example, he shows how the Ivory Coast government and the French government are working hand in hand. Number one, these terrorist groups are being trained in Ivory Coast, in Benin, in the neighboring countries. The French military, Ivory Coast is hosting the French military, who is equipping and training these terrorist groups. Number two, a person who has committed a crime, an official in Mali, is now sitting in Ivory Coast, and he is named as the president of Mali. So Ivory Coast is not only sabotaging and working to destabilize Burkina Faso, but now we hear that also Mali. Number three, he also mentioned, how the things are working in a synchronized way. Both the government of Ivory Coast and the French, like Alassane Ouattara and Emmanuel Macron, are working together. And this is why you see also previously what I showed you, all the mainstream media talking about this Al-Qaeda linked terrorist groups blockading, which is true, but they have sponsors, they have, agendas. So it's really sad in front of our eyes, something that we don't want even to think about or even to imagine about is going to happen. They are going to lead Mali to be a failed state and to set up their own government. So this is why it's like Operation Attack Bamako is really underway, and we should wake up and to analyze and do something. I really would like to hear people from Mali, also from the Sahel states. Please let us know, and you also can email us. You can find in the description section our email address as well. It's very sad, and they are doing the same method again and again, the same pattern, demonizing the government and leading Mali to be a failed state. That was it for now. Thank you very much for tuning in. And let us know in the comment section, what do you think of this? How can we can further, discuss this topic? Because if we don't really make a, I don't think so many people knows about this, but yeah, we share the video with others. Please give it a like if you find it informative enough, and subscribe to the channel. It's a ciao ciao from me, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.